So I want to take you inside a trading session that I witnessed and inside one of our traders' mindsets and behavior around trading over the last couple of weeks. So I'm not going to name names, but we're going to call him Student A for this video. And Student A had been building a nice buffer in his XFA over on Top Step. And he got to round about 5,200. Now, 5,200 can be life-changing money for a lot of people. There are many traders that probably wouldn't look at that. But for the average person in and around the world, 5,200 maybe per month or every couple of weeks can be life-changing, definitely in, third world countries. And a lot of people who get into trading are looking to try to escape the norm of where they're at. So that $5,200 would probably change a lot of people's lives. Now, that has to be consistent, of course. But at the end of the day, it is money that tends to change a lot of real world problems, whether that's family, whether that's getting out of debt, whether that's changing your lifestyle, all these types of things. And that will come into fruition of why I mentioned that later on in this video. And Student A was counting up the dollars as he was going through patience, through discipline, through good risk management, following the rules for the way that I trade, the precision system or the Trader OS, and really getting progression in and out. And you could see I was speaking to them on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, having our calls, and they was getting really, really excited, and they could see that it was coming to fruition. Now, I want to take you what actually happened after that, all right? And this is very, very common for most traders, and in fact, every trader. And if you've not been through this, you will go through this. And if you have been through this, this is probably going to hit a nerve, because I've been through this many, many times over the years. Now, all of a sudden, after speaking with this Student A and was due to take a payout, it was at zero. Within a couple of hours, that account was at zero. And you've been there, and you can imagine how painful that it actually is. Now, there was no shame on Student A or anything like that. He gave me permission to obviously share this kind of content, all right? But I don't want to name two names. But it happened, and it will always happen to traders, and this is probably including you that are watching this video, purely down to not understanding why you're trading and the emotional things that are happening in the background of your trading behaviors, your trading beliefs, etc. And this is going to be very, very common for a lot of people, that they're going to be like, oh, this hits a nerve with me. So you think about it. Consistency is going to give you progress. I always talk about the 3 C's: clarity, confidence, consistency, all right? Well, and control as well. You could actually bring the 4 C's in there as well. But these are the C's that are going to obviously give you what you need to get where you need to get to. And trading can be seen come across as all this nonsense that you see, and I mention that all the time. But realistically, if you really, really want to be successful in anything that you do, you need to have the 4 C's: control, consistency, confidence, and clarity, all right? And the morning of when Student A lost this $5,000, they were due to take a payout, and they should have taken a payout from that, but they didn't. Something came in without them realizing, from nowhere, overtook them, wanted more money, wanted more greed. And at the end of that day, after months and months and months of being disciplined to the highest possible level, it completely went out of the water. And this is not the first student, by the way. This has happened to many, many people that I coach. It's happened to me many, many times, and happened to you many, many times who's watching this video. And it didn't just happen with one loss. It happened with a small loss. A small loss that maybe was against the trading rules. A small loss that you should not have gone in, and your emotional state took over and you made an impulsive trade. That was just the beginning of the spiral for the rest of that day. Chasing something, revenge trading, knowing that you should not have taken that trade. This is very, very common across the board. This is why trading is so hard. And you then think, well, I need to fix this, because this is where your ego comes in. And this is exactly what Student A did. They wanted to go in and say, well, I need to fix this. The market has done me, not reflecting that it was Student A who made the mistake and not the market. All of a sudden, the cascade came in. I've spoke about the cascade time and time again in relation to trading First, it's the revenge trade, and then we know no rationalization whatsoever, and then our nervous system kicks in. We don't know what's happening, and then it's a fight or a flight situation. This is what causes us to go on tilt and lose all that money along the way. Now, this, when you look at it, initially you will say, well, bam, this must just mean that it's a discipline problem. It's way deeper than that. It's way, way deeper than that. It's a nervous system problem. Okay, so student A's body went straight into fight or flight. That's what it did. And it only lasted 4 hours. But that 4 hours blasted out 2 to 3 months, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months of hard-earned discipline and cash. Real cash that they could have taken out of real markets. Now, you know that the stats and people are always looking for figures and people are always looking for screenshots and but if you're going down that route and you're looking for screenshots of people's P&L or you're looking for proof of what people can do, well, you're looking in the wrong direction. You need to be going down the route of how does a trader think? What knowledge do they know about trading? Because it's easy for anyone to throw monetary out there. And that's the biggest problem. Student A lost all his money because monetary was the main focus. Student A made the money because process was the main focus. And this is normal. This is going to happen across the board. The minute that we want something, the minute that we go down that route of I need to get that money back, or I need to go crazy on 4 or 5 XFAs, or I need to pass combines, it switches and we forget about the process. In anything that we do, the joy is actually in the process. The joy is, a majority of the time, it's not in the result. The joy is in the process. Now, student A went on to have a very, very hard 2, 3, 4, 5 days after that. Now, the great thing is I got a message over the weekend that he took a payout. And that was his first ever payout, because the first ever payout should have been the $5,000. But he got there again over time. Well, not time, only 3 or 4 weeks. But I'm going to tell you exactly what he did to make sure that he got to pay out this time and learn from his, obviously, mistakes. Now, student A now has the ability to become consistent. Now, many of you watching this video are trying to figure out where you can become consistent. That's what you're trying to do. So the question I ask yourself is, when was you consistent and how did you get there? Because at some point in your trading, whether that's 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something has worked. And I want you to tap into that. So when did you have a little bit of consistency or long-term consistency? And what did you do to get there? That's what you need to keep doing. You know the term never trying to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to. It's there. It's proven. Maybe you want to add some carbon fiber to it to make it more flashy. But at the end of the day, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. So go and find something that works with that consistency and stick to that consistency. Question is, what would you have done? Would you have taken a payout or would you have gone for greed? And be honest with yourself. Would you have blown that account or would you have tried to obviously take the payout? So what did student A do? After we had a deep conversation in one of our sessions, what people struggle with and what student A struggle with is they want to maybe leave their job to trade full time, or they want more freedom, so they need more money, or they just want more things on a monetary basis. And you must detach yourself. So the number one thing that I say to you is, number one, detach yourself from the want or the monetary side of anything. You know, we've all been there. We say, well, if I've got 4 or 5 accounts linked and I make $2,000 a week, then that's $10,000. That's $40,000 a month. But what we don't take into consideration is, what happens if I lose a couple of trades? How am I going to react to losing a couple of trades? How am I going to react to rejection? That's tough. I, for one, do not like reacting to rejection. It is hard. How am I going to react to a loss? How am I going to emotionally regulate myself when it comes to that? So student A, we said, first things first, we need to detach ourselves from the monetary value. We need to concentrate on going back to the process. So the first thing we did was making sure that we went straight back to journaling the process. And again, if you need any help with that types of things, there is a free journal, a 30-day journal that'll get you back on track. The description is below. Go and check that out. People have had some really, really good results on that. We've got some great feedback from that. So there is a journal. Go and check that out in the description. That will really, really help you get consistency, because without consistency, my friends, you are not going to make money in this game. It's as simple as that. You're just not going to make money within this game. So number one was detaching myself from that monetary value. Number two was obviously getting back to journaling and emotionally being aware of how it is around his trading. That was the most important. Number two was the most important in my opinion, because it recreated the process. And then finally, number three was not looking for a home run every single trade. You've seen this now. It's all about trading small, but compounding. Trading small, but compounding. Now, I understand that you might want to go with a mini and you might want to make $400, $500, $600, $1,000 a trade, cross request 5 accounts, 10 accounts. I get that. But that only comes when you become consistent. If you can't take payouts from one account or pass one combined, you can't do it with 10. And if you think that your guru is telling you something different, more than likely that's the wrong person for you to follow. I see these things happening in the background weekly with our students. So I can share this with you because I know if it's happening with our students who are very, very good traders, by the way. And yes, good traders still do lose. Like Lionel Messi still misses a penalty. However, if you don't know how to trade, you need consistency. Consistency to prove to yourself that that works. Now, student A, unbelievable, gave me the motivation to do this, took a payout over the weekend, well, requested a payout Sunday evening, Monday morning, early morning, to make sure that he did not do what he did again. Because it was the last time that he did. $5,200, was supposed to take a payout on Friday, did not, went to the Monday and did not self-regulate himself. So if this is you and you're getting to payout and you're trying to push for more, and I get that, small and steady wins the race in trading.